your two ones.
You and I got to spend a lovely day at the Big Freeze last year where I told you how to run your portfolio. It was a good day for you.
It's all right. She tells me. It was even worse. Collingwood lost. Anyway.
Thank you for what you've just said. But what I'm curious to know for the people that I advocate for is, are you having KPIs put upon this new system? And how quickly can we expect change? Because as Jason just said, by the time that the people with MND apply or request a wheelchair or changes to their bathrooms, they're either dead or they have no use for it anymore. So there's also space in time, but also a huge lack of money, waste of money on behalf of the NDIS.
Okay. Well, I hope MND will keep me informed, your representatives, of how the July 1 pathway starts working, probably by July 3rd. Part of the reason why there's been a general delay is because we're trying to tighten up the system. There's a bunch of plan managers who are now flooding the system with rubbish claims. I'm not talking about MND, but understand when you see the debates and everyone stroking their chin and clutching their pearls about changes to the NDIS, we are being gamed. There are some plan managers and some disability intermediaries who've crept up, and some of them are very good, okay? And this is always the dilemma. When you criticise anyone, everyone feels offended. When you praise someone, no one seems to feel praised except the individual. There's very good people doing this intermediary work. The reason why we have so many disability intermediaries is because the scheme wasn't, over the last 10 years, didn't get enough direct resources. And NDIS is a language. I'm not saying it's as hard as AI, but I'm sure the learning models of AI haven't mastered NDIS rules yet. So I get why intermediaries have sprung up to fill a need, a gap. The NDIS is an example in the last 10 years of creating a 19th century laissez-faire economy where the government sprays out the money and there's not too much regulation. What's happened though is that some of the operators have realised that we're about tightening up the scheme and not wasting money. So we have had the number of change of circumstances requests, for example, double from last year to this year, from 2,500 a week to 5,000 plus. So we are getting delays because we're getting flooded with some rubbish claims, but we still got to look at every claim. So I'm sorry about the delay. That's why we want to have a pathway for some of these conditions because, you know, MND is MND. It's you either have it or you don't. So there's sort of facts which you don't really need to go through with some of the other more subjective judgments. And also the consequence, we don't do a diagnosis-based scheme because if we did, all diagnoses would get gamed. But some diagnoses are pretty self-explanatory and the consequences are. So that's why we want to set up the pathway. And so I'm sorry about the delays, but some of the delays are being created by people behaving in an opportunistic fashion because some disability intermediaries get paid on the volume of the claim they're managing. And so if your money gets spent quickly, at the moment, the default option is we have to top it up, which is not sustainable. We're trying to tighten it up in legislation. Somewhat confusingly, the Liberal Party today said they want another 3 months to look at the legislation, although they've had 3 months. So that'll cost, by the way, $320 million to delay our legislation by a couple of months. That's more than the total NDIS envelope for all people with MND in Australia. And we're going to waste that in the next 2 months by political gamesmanship. But that's my problem. That's everyone's problem too. So in answer to your question, Jason and Andrew, you're right. I did go to it earlier on. But with MND, you know, it's to me, some of the conditions just unequivocal. And with that diagnosis, we should open a file. So you don't have to, each time you deal with this, you don't have to tell your story again from the start. So hopefully that'll speed things up, okay? And if it isn't, you've got to let me know. All right, on that moment of excitement, at least for half of the issues with MND, I hope you get a sense that I'm as motivated as you are to make sure the NDIS experience is as seamless. It should be a support. It shouldn't be a trauma. It should be something where you go, thank goodness I'm an Australian, rather than thinking, is this a second full-time job? It should be something where you can concentrate all your emotional energy on the person rather than a sense of, oh my God, that sense of almost teeth grinding frustration about another portal or another call or another explanation. life has a way of happening to us. You just don't want to be re-injured by stupidity. And so hopefully we'll eliminate some of the stupidity in one part of the area. Thank you very much for your advocacy. It's great that you're here today in such large numbers. Thank you.